Just south of Seneca Lake, amidst the rolling vineyards and woodlands in upstate New York's Finger Lakes region, sits a shrine of American motorsport. Watkins Glen International is more than just a racetrack. It's the birthplace of post-war road racing in North America, a worthy test of some of the best drivers to ever sit in a race car. Today, the Glen hosts NASCAR Cup and Xfinity Series, as well as a 6-hour crown jewel event of the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, SCCA Pro and Amateur Racing, ARCA Menard Series, and SVRA Vintage Racing. Over the years, the Glen has been lengthened once and continually upgraded, and a lap around today's Grand Prix circuit still incorporates much of the original layout. The first turn is known as the 90, a right-hander and a good place to pass. Then it's up toward the S's, a series of 3 fast sweeping apexes leading onto the backstretch. The cars reach their top speed here before hard braking into the bus stop at the end of the straight. Here the track deviates from its original circuit downhill to the left-hand laces, then a short chute into the right-hander named the toe, a banked uphill hairpin to another straightaway down into another right turn called the heel. Then it's up to a quick left turn number 9 where the boot rejoins the original circuit, tricky because it's off camber, followed by the even quicker turn 10, an almost flat-out left-hander. The final corner, turn 11, is a fast right-hander that leads out onto the main straight. Racing first came to the Glen in 1948 in the form of the Watkins Glen Grand Prix, an SCCA-sanctioned event that ran on more than 6-mile course over the back roads of the town in what is now a state park. The success of that event eventually led to the construction of a permanent track, the resulting product a little more than a third in length of the original street course. In 1957, the track hosted its first race, a NASCAR Grand National Series event won by Buck Baker over Fireball Roberts. The following year, Formula Libre showed up, and not long after that, Watkins Glen hit big time. In 1961, Formula One came to the little town by the lake, bringing with it some of the most legendary names in motorsports. For the next 2 decades, the home of the U.S. Grand Prix was Watkins Glen. The early 80s saw some tough times for the Glen. F1 held its last race there in 1980, and it was closed to all but spectator-free SCCA meets for 2 years. But the track would soon recover under new ownership. In 1986, NASCAR's Top Series returned to the Glen, and with it, a whole new renaissance for the track began. Tonight, it's round 6 of the Lonestar Racing GT3 Series, and it's next from Watkins Glen. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Steve Singer with HBR TV, joined in the broadcast booth by Zach Millett. How you doing, Zach?
Hey, Steve. Good, man. How about you?
Doing well. Really excited to get this race underway here from Watkins Glen. It's certainly one of the favorites here on the schedule. Looking forward to it, well, pretty much since the season started. Taking a look at the race details, it is a 60-minute sprint. Rather cool here at the track today, 65 degrees, 55% humidity. Last check of the track temp, we were about 100 degrees. That may be coming down as we're starting to get into some cloud cover. Qualifying already underway here at Watkins Glen International. Top of the chart right now, it's the BMW of Kevin Burrows, a minute 43.927. Pretty stellar lap. I think the quickest we saw in practice might have been a 43.7 by Terry Crouch. Pretty competitive lap time, Zach. I know when you and I ran here, I think the low 43s, maybe even high 42s were possible. Not by me, but I think you might have cracked that 42 barrier.
Yeah, if I remember right, we were rating the mid 42s, but then again, that's with a setup. You know, a lot of time went into that setup. Big thanks again to Mark Thomas for having our back with that.
Yeah, definitely.
But these guys are rolling on fixed setup, Steve. I don't know how they get down this low with a fixed setup. That's insane.
Mark Thomas giving us a custom race setup for that particular day. We're on the baseline here and reduced fuel, which certainly does help. That may be where they're getting the extra time from, but either way, it's going to be a handful.
I love watching these cars come into the bus stop. They're just absolutely sending it.
Andrew Locke currently third on the board. Oh, loses it out of the laces. Very commonplace to have that happen. That's why the tire pack is there. Quick quickly exits to the pits. Chris Goins in the McLaren. Chris Goins has been doing some practice with Terry Crouch this week, another fellow McLaren driver. There's only 2 in the field, so keep an eye on these guys and watch the 28 of Goins to see what kind of times he can throw down here in qualifying and what kind of crazy strategy they're going to play here in the race. Well, a lot of times we watch these GT3 races. We've talked about it, well, yesterday actually when we did the Brands Hatch tape delay. Of course, we are here live at virtual Watkins Glen, but let's try to make a pick. And honestly, it's not going to be an easy one because there's a lot of guys in this field that have a very good chance at winning this race.
Yeah, it really could be anybody. This is going to be a pretty tough one to pick. You want to pick first, Steve, or you want me to?
Well, since my Crouch beat your Crouch yesterday, I'm going to pick today.
Say that 3 times fast, Steve.
Yeah, I don't want to because it's going to end up saying something else. So I'm going to pick David Seats in the Mercedes.
Oh, that's a good pick. That's a good pick. I'm thinking Andrew Locke.
Another solid pick. We saw him just lose it there out of the laces, but he's got a decent time already in.
Yep, he definitely knows this place pretty well. He's definitely able to win it. He's very consistent. Yeah, I feel good about it.
Yeah, Andrew Locke has been out here in a real car. Of course, he's an upstate New York native out of Rochester, only an hour and a half from the track, myself included. A lot of BMWs in that top 10. Only 2 other makes representing the top 10 here in qualifying. Dave Seats in the Mercedes and Lee Tucker in the Lamborghini.
Boy, Dave all over Chris here.
I'm wondering if Terry is going to qualify as soon as I say that.
It's like clockwork.
To the top of the board goes Terry Crouch, minute 43.519. I got to take a look here. What's the weather looking like? Track temp is a little cooler. It's down to 90 degrees.
Boy, I hope it's like this in August for the real life. That'd be great.
August, it's just certainly not going to be that cool. June, there's a chance for the 6-hour weekend at IMSA, but there's always a day or two on that weekend that just a scorcher. I remember, was it last year when we went? I think Saturday was like 93 degrees.
Man.
Of course, Sunday for the race. Torrential rainstorm after the fact, actually very late in the race itself. It's down to like 64 degrees. So it's Terry Crouch, Kevin Burrows, Dave Seats, Brack Crouch, Andrew Locke, the top 5. I would say Andrew is probably done with his qualifying session. In fact, we are at the 10-minute mark, so that's going to wrap it up here pretty quickly. Kevin Burrows, he's already in the pits. Terry Crouch, fastest on the board at this point. Dave Seats is still out there, just getting down into the heel of the boot right now. It's closing in on Chris Goins here. I don't know if Goins is going to pose an obstacle to him or not. Might actually give him a bit of a pull here down the front stretch. Checkered flag waves.
Kind of a perfect spot to catch him right there.
We'll see where Dave Seats lands. Does he improve? Does not. He does. 9:51 was his best official lap. That's weird why it shows it that way, because it shows...
Same lap?
Oh, no. He improved his time, just didn't improve his position. Was a few hundredths shy of Kevin Burrows there. Puts himself third. Some drivers finishing up their lap still. Mike Piazza in the Audi. He is just wrapped up. We should get to our starting grid here in just a moment. So with that, we're going to take a quick break here as they still wrap up trying to get the grid set for tonight's event. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Watkins Glen International for round 6 of the Lonestar Racing GT3 Series. Take a look at our starting grid for tonight's race. Terry Crouch with a lap time of 1 minute 43.519. Starts P1. Outside front row, it's TLDR SimSport teammate Kevin Burrows. Row number 2, it's the 14 of David Seats in the Mercedes. Outside, starting in the 4th position, it's Sean Roberts, number 66 Shenandoah Shine Machine. Starting in the 5th position, it's Brad Crouch with RPM Racing. Andrew Locke will start in the 6th position. Dave Tamira is going to roll from the 7th starting spot, the 014. James Vance, the IMSA driver, he's going to start in the 8th spot. Randall White rolling from the 9th position, also of TLDR SimSport. 10th starter is going to go to Brandon Domain. 11th will be Leo Tucker. 12th position, Daniel Clark. Chris Goins, the number 28. Another McLaren in the field, he'll start 13th. Blake Langley out of the Mid-South, he'll start in the 14th position with Chris Pio starting 15th. The Audi of Mike Piazza with Time Slice Motorsports, he's going to roll from the 16th starting position. 17th position, Nick Batista. 18th goes to Andy Spicer. 19th, Gaston Masroni. 20th, Nick Ciccato. Looks like he's still here. That's a good thing. He's still going to have to go to the back as his win penalty from last week. Justin T. Wilkinson will start 21st. Kevin Blue, 22nd. 23rd starter, Travis Martin. 24th, Bill Mulfeld. Justin Johnson's going to roll from the 25th position. 26th, and shotgun on the field. It's the 11 of Slade Johnston, not Johnson. There is one extra letter. It's your starting grid for round 6 here at Watkins Glen. Field on their one and only formation lap. .36 miles around Watkins Glen. Again, we're on reduced fuel loads here, so expect at least 2 stops out of most of these drivers. Field now working the relatively new boot section, and I say relatively because it was put here in '71. It's been here a while. Fun fact about that, Zach, is they completed this portion of the renovation of the track weeks, not even a month, before the U.S. Grand Prix that year.
Why they were probably in a hurry to get that done.
Oh, they still had blacktop curing before that race was ready to go. I only know that from hand-me-down stories from my dad. He was there.
It's one of the best spots to watch the race from.
It really is. Top of the boot coming back onto the original course, or a portion of it. Now into turn 10. This corner was tightened in that renovation. It used to sweep out more of a faster corner back in the day before the upgrade, the new boot section of the racetrack. There was also a rail that basically ran right along that white line. Turn 11 also a much narrower corner. So here we go. Pace car pulls off. Starter has the flag in hand, and we're underway from Watkins Glen. Get through turn 1 cleanly. It looks like we do. Oh, we got trouble in the S's. Big time trouble at the top of the hill. This is going to wad up 5, 6, 7 plus cars. Chris Goins is in it. Nick Caccato looks to be in it. Gaston Masroni possibly involved as well. And we don't get the caution.
How does that change everything, Steve?
Sean Roberts in trouble, trying to get away here.
Boy, a lot of these cars just limping to make it back.
Big trouble at the start. Up through the S's, some drivers made some contact. Meanwhile, Terry Crouch cleanly through into turn 10. Try to go back and get a look at it here in a moment. Meanwhile, Terry Crouch out in front. David Seitz runs P2. 6 drivers at least involved in that. Kevin Blue is actually on the racetrack. We thought he was just here in an admin role tonight. Was able to make it in time. So certainly aware of the incident, so no yellow for that first lap incident up through the S's.
It is a big track, Steve, but at the same time I am surprised because that was a pretty big yard sale.
Yeah, 6 or 7 drivers of a 24 car field. I think all it was, 26 car field. Let's go back and get a look at it and see if we can get an idea where this kicked off from. Oh, it was Kevin Blue just wrecks as we're going to this replay here. And he's out.
Uh-oh.
We'll go back to that in a minute. Let's start with the first incident in the S's. Uh-oh. All right.
I think there's so much going on, Steve, that even SDK doesn't really even know where to start.
All right, here we go. We're going to watch this from Chris Goins here. He was, I believe he was at the back of this. Yeah, you see the smoke's already starting up ahead of him.
Everybody on the binders.
Looks like Sean Roberts might have been the first one in it. I tell you, this reminds me of a Porsche Cup race at the Glen here about 3-4 years ago. They ended up life-flighting 2 guys out of it. But it was right in the same spot, and the track was blocked. The problem is, in many cases, coming up the hill here, you cannot see anything. Let's watch it again here. Watch Sean Roberts now. Does he just lose the rear of the car?
Boy, unless there was contact there, yeah, it did look like he came around.
Uh-oh. We lost Sean Roberts. This time for sure? Nope. Well, we're having some technical difficulties, of course, with SDK right now. But you saw what we could see there for that initial wreck on lap 1. Terry Crouch closing in on the Audi of Mike Piazza already. Put the battle box up here. Dave Seats only 1 second behind. Audi pulls down, makes room for the leader. I do want to go back to the replay with Sean Roberts. We're going to try it again in another minute. I think we're making the server at SDK angry. All right, let's try it again. It keeps going there. Why does it do that?
And unfortunately, Steve, I think right when we cut that, to this replay, I think Terry might have went off track and spun out. I think he got a little too much of the bus stop entrance.
Well, let's see if we can get a replay out of Terry Crouch here without going straight to the bus stop.
Unless he caught it. He might have caught it.
He's lost a bunch of spots. He's back in the 4th position. Dave Seats, your new leader. Just going to reload the overlay here. I don't know if that's going to help me here, but... yeah, the data that I'm getting on the SDK side is just not checking out. Let's see if we can get the replay with Kevin Blue. We'll try that one. Oh, boy. No. So, we'll stick live here. I'm going to try and reload this thing, and hopefully we get a better result as we move forward. Terry Crouch now runs in the 4th position. It's not race over by any means for Terry. He's got time to make this up. He's got to be mistake-free the rest of the way.
It looks like he didn't hit anything, so, thankful for that.
Guys, I do apologize. Having some pretty significant issues with the overlay right now. It's not cooperating by any means. Very rare occasion for me here with SDK. It's not a common occurrence that we have issues with the overlay system, but once in a blue moon, it does want to act up. Meanwhile, Dave Seats still out in front, and if I look closely, this is somewhat of a home race for Dave Seats. He's got a Pennsylvania license plate on the back of that Mercedes. All right, well, now that we have reset We're going to cross our fingers and see if we can get it again here. A better angle on that first lap crash in the S's with Sean Roberts. Still no.
No dice.
Well, unfortunately, it looks like we are without replay the rest of the event. Brad Crouch running in the 3rd position. Terry Crouch in 4th. James Vance up 3 spots into the 5th position. Andrew Locke has slipped down to 9th. Mike Piazza still down low in that Audi, way off pace.
That's a scary moment for BMW right there, Steve. He came into the carousel there a little wide, touched the grass. It was an excellent job of keeping control of that car.
So as it stands right now, looks like Bill Mulfeld and Kevin Blue both still in the pits, not officially out of this race, but it doesn't look good. Terry Crouch taking a peek to the inside. You got a battle for position. It's the Crouch versus Crouch show. Under braking, Crouch outbrakes the BMW into the heel. Good exit. Goes a little wide, even had room to spare. Kevin Blue in the stream chat. Let me tell you, it was brutal. we saw some of the replay. The first couple of angles were from the drone. We had some trees in the way. Then we tried to switch to another camera. And then everything decided to stop cooperating. So hopefully we can get a better look at it later. We'll try after the halfway point, but I think we're in trouble here. Something going wrong with the SDK servers, that would appear. As Kevin Blue says, I just wanted to make a Sunday drive. 1 lap was enough. And he probably rushed to get home and get ready, and not even to the bus stop. Well, only to the bus stop.
Right. I hate to see that.
So we're down the backstretch here. Crouch has got pressure from Vance coming. So Terry Crouch gets back up into the 3rd spot after a brief mistake. I think, Zach, you were saying that was just coming out of the bus stop into the carousel that he lost it?
Terry, it looked like he was coming into the bus stop. It looks like maybe he just cut it a little too short, maybe hopped a little too much on the curb.
The thing I found most times with that first entry curb, if you can get really tight to the Armco, which you got to be careful, you don't want to knock the mirrors off the thing, that's kind of the ideal setup to get into that set of corners. You really straighten out your entry into that first left-hand part of the bus stop. The problem is, like we said, you're really close to the Armco. That can cause some issues, but the other part of it is if you don't go close enough, for some reason, that part of the curb, it kind of jacks the front of the car up in the air and completely takes the steering out of the equation.
Yeah, it's hard to tell where your steering is at before you try to make that left to get around it. I mean, I noticed if we didn't hit it right in practice, it was sometimes like a second that was costing us on lap time.
That's if you don't wreck the car.
Right, yeah.
The problem is a lot of times is you get into that position, and again, the nose comes up off the ground a bit. Sometimes the driver can kind of panic, put too much wheel into it because they get no sensation out of it. All of a sudden they feel like it's not steering. Well, then it lands and you get on the brakes and then it takes a hard right into the barrier. As you see it right there, big wiggle out of Terry Crouch. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Heck of a save.
Oh, we're going to go 3 wide here. Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
Brad Crouch being... Oh, and Brad Crouch, hard impact, was trying to go to the outside to take advantage of the mistake from Terry Crouch. Oh, man, tough break for Brack. He kind of got to know when to quit on that one. I know he probably didn't expect to get contact from Terry, but that's a tough one. He's going to exit right back to the pits. Andrew Locke also in pit lane. I don't know if this is due to damage or if this is some strategy for Andrew. Andrew's been there about 35 seconds, so I'm going to say this might be a problem for Andrew. Meanwhile, let's follow up with Nick Ciccato. He was somewhat involved in that first lap incident in the S's. The car looks pretty healthy right now, though. He's in the 10th place.
Boy, Steve, this race kind of turned into a survival game here.
Well, and Terry had mentioned it to us pre-broadcast that it was going to be tough. This place is not the easiest to begin with, but specifically, he was mentioning, at least in the McLaren, it was really, really on edge. It's starting to seem it's kind of the same way for a lot of these guys. So James Vance now up to P3. Terry Crouch back on the attack. That's the thing about him. He can have an issue, get right back into it.
And that's so hard to do too, Steve. You're driving so on edge, right on the razor's edge of disaster every lap, every turn. And you make a mistake like that, I mean, you freeze up. I know for me personally, it affects me for at least a couple laps normally.
Well, and it's interesting, too, because a lot of guys talk about how sim racing in itself is kind of changing the sport of real-life racing, because a lot of these guys are coming in, their first opportunities at racing anything is behind the wheel of a rig, a simulator per se, and then they might get into something else, whether it's, a go-kart. I'm talking about kids 4 or 5 years old. They're in the sim. It's no joke these days, but then they'll get into something realistic. They'll keep moving their way on through. But the problem is the habits that you learn in the sim, for instance, not being afraid to crash because it doesn't hurt. Unfortunately, a lot of times that's a hard lesson to learn when you wreck your first real race car. Kevin Blue giving us some more details. This is the benefit to Kevin being out of the race, is he can follow up with us as kind of race control to tell us what happened specifically. Andrew Locke did make contact with the Audi of Mike Piazza. Mike looped the car and Andrew took damage.
Boy, broadcaster's curse again.
Only by you.
Man.
My guy's looking pretty good.
Jinxed.
Sorry, Dave. Hope you make it home
no.
at this point. We're 16 minutes into this 60-minute event. We talked about it in the open for tonight's race. IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Series does run a 6-hour, quote, crown jewel here every June. They've been running it since, I believe, the late 60s, if not early 70s. It's an event that I personally make sure I get to every year. And if you're within, well, let's just go within 6 hours drive time of Watkins Glen, I strongly urge you to make the trip. It is well worth it. The garage and paddock area wide open. They let you walk the grid the day of the race. All the cars are down there. It's a mob scene, but it's worth every penny. It's not crazy expensive. It's not like going to a NASCAR Cup race, but you get a whole lot more access. It really is a good time.
And I definitely could second that, Steve. The first time I actually went to watch the race in full was when I went with you the 1 year, and I look forward to it every time now. It's something I can't miss every year.
Yeah, certainly excited for it. I think this year we're going to stay over Sunday night after the race, come back on Monday, just like we do for NASCAR.
Yeah, I like the sound of that. If I can do that, I'm with you.
That way we don't have to pack up while the race is finishing up.
Yeah, you can enjoy yourself a little longer. That's everything.
It was nice. Years ago, they used to run the 6-hour on a Saturday, so you had that option. Not the case anymore. More information from Kevin Blue. Brack cut down on Terry when they went 3 wide after the bus stop. He ended up in the tires, disconnected. We did see that live. Obviously, we couldn't go back and watch it necessarily, but that is how Kevin Blue sees it from his perspective as the race admin.
In-race reporter Kevin Blue.
I know, this is nice. Kevin, feel free if you want. You can come up here in the booth at HBR TV. You can join myself and Zach. Don't feel obligated. It's just an offer. I know you've done it before. .18.5 minutes in. Terry Crouch has lost the 3rd position to James Vance. Or is it the other way around? Is this after Terry had his issue and now he's trying to take that spot back?
Yeah, I think he's trying to take it back now.
So we do have Kevin Blue in the broadcast booth with us. Kevin, thanks for jumping up.
Hey, I might as well talk to you guys. I'm not doing anything else, you know.
Well, you're just texting us in the stream chat. You might as well come up here and talk, at least free up your hands a little bit, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sitting here trying to type with one hand, so if you see any spelling errors,
Oh, boy.
you know, that's on me.
Well, a tough break for you early on. I know you mentioned what was going on in that first lap up through the S's, but let's talk about it. That first lap up through the S's, a little chaotic. 6, 7, 8 cars involved. What did it look like out the front windshield of that Ferrari?
Well, I was actually in the pits because I didn't get home in time to qualify, so I just figured I'd stay in the pits and give the announcements and then just pull out of the pits. I haven't ran a single practice lap or anything, so I just figured I'd be safe and just start in the pits and see what happened. But yeah, I guess there's I don't know if they updated the track or what. I don't remember there being that big of a bump in the first of the bus stop, so whenever I hit it, I just lost the rear end, just went right in the wall. So
well, when they
No
updated
biggie.
the track about a year plus ago, that's when it got big. But if you get into it, we talked about this a little bit actually. If you get in nice and tight to the Armco, it's not as severe of a bump. Really, you get, I mean, honestly, you get all 4 tires off the ground instead of just the fronts. But
yeah,
it's tough.
yeah, that makes sense.
It's absolutely.
Yeah, I think the last time I raced here was in the LSR Truck Series, and that was in the truck. That's in Zach's specialty, the NASCAR truck on a road course. But
Well, it used to be his specialty. Now it's Brian McCann's specialty.
Yeah, I'm all washed up now, man. I'm done.
Somebody finally come stepping up and whooping your butt, Zach.
Oh, yeah, yep.
Go back and watch the Sonoma broadcast at HBR TV last night. He didn't
I
put a
will
whooping
definitely do
on
that.
him. He didn't put a whooping on him, but it was an excellent race. Unfortunately for Zach, came out P2.
I was starting to wonder, man, if HBR was just becoming the Zach Millett show.
Well,
you know,
it-
seems like
it
you're
is
winning
that.
every race, man.
I did Sonoma, you know, I finished second there just for Brian Rose, so he didn't have to post another picture. I did that just for him.
Well, either way, it was a good race to watch.
man.
In all seriousness, it was probably one of the better stock car, stock truck style road course races that I've been able to call in HBR TV. So it's been fun. These races over here in GT3, they're getting more and more exciting. And I got to say, the switch to the different setup and the shorter fuel loads has made a huge difference in the quality of the product that you guys put out here at LSR.
Oh, absolutely. It just makes the car drive better. I mean, that's what me and the admins kind of got together and we were talking about. I mean, the car was just so sloppy, and there was a ton of understeer when there was that much fuel in it. I mean, I know you've ran endurance races with 100% fuel, and I mean, you know how it is when you got a full tank. It's like driving a boat. And if you want, you know, a lot of racing going on, I mean, it's kind of hard to, you know, dive it into the corner on somebody and control it whenever you got a full fuel load and you're just pushing the front end into them. I mean, it's definitely made it a lot better. It's allowed for more strategy. People can use more tire strategy. I mean, you know, you see some guys just taking a couple tires, some guys, you know, not taking any tires. I mean, and you know, with the lighter fuel load, it doesn't take nearly as long to fuel the car. So you really got to think, is it worth it to take the tires or not and add that extra time? But
Well, that's what's interesting is we're watching this first round of pit stops underway here at Watkins Glen, and I'm seeing a lot of guys up on the jacks already, only 22 minutes in, taking tires. It really surprises me.
man, look at that car. Look at that Ferrari, man. That's a good looking car right there.
It's all beat
Looks
up.
brand new too. Yeah, it looks brand new right now. Maybe I ought to get out there and run a few laps.
You had a fast repair. Did you use it?
Oh man, no point. There was no point tonight. I'm really here. I'm not here to really compete in the league. I mean, I have fun racing with everybody. I mean, there's a lot of guys in here way faster than I am and have way more time to practice during the week. And I just really enjoy running the league and giving the guys somewhere to race and try to put on a good show. You know, especially having you guys broadcast and everything. It makes people want to race in it, and it seems like this has really been the only race so far that's had any huge incidents in it. Everyone seems to be pretty courteous of each other, and you know, there's a lot of good racecraft in these races, and it just keeps getting better and better.
Definitely does, and that's really something we've seen. This is technically the second GT3 series. I know we had the sports car series in between, so really our third season with you guys here at HBR, or I'm sorry, at LSR.
Right.
We're HBR, and the product
Right.
has just gotten better and better. It's nice to see.
Yeah, it's, you know, when I came into LSR, I mean, I started running with LSR with the Toys for Tots charity race a couple years ago, and you know, that was one thing when I came in and they started talking about, you know, me possibly being on the team and stuff. I was like, you know, I really want to start a road league. You guys don't have any road series going on. They were all about dirt and oval, and yeah, it's unbelievable the crew we've assembled here. We've got some really fast guys. We got guys from all over the world driving in this thing. I mean, it's pretty cool what we've kind of built, and a lot of these guys actually came from the St. Jude Spa 3-hour race that we did last July, and they kind of stuck around. They saw it was a good race and a good group of guys to run with, and they just all kind of stuck around, and they just keep running leagues with us, and seems to be like we got a good thing going.
Yeah, I think Aldo Secklin was one of them. He's hit and miss over here, but I'm pretty sure the Argentinians came here from that particular race as well. Gaston, Nick Ciccato.
Yeah, kind of by way of some of the Apex Tech racing guys like Chris Pio and Andy Spicer and all those guys. I think they raced with them some, and they kind of referred them to us. But yeah, man, they're all fast. All those guys are fast, and they're not afraid to get aggressive either. But typically they're pretty clean, and you know they've won a couple races. I think Nick Ciccato won the last race at Brands Hatch, and you know Gaston's won a couple races, I think, and it's been great, man.
I think Cicato's got a couple of wins. Masroni's got a couple of wins. It's those guys are fast. But Dave Seat's currently leading this one in the Mercedes. Again, we talked about it earlier. He's got a Pennsylvania license plate on the back of that machine, so maybe a home race for this guy. But Terry Crouch has found his way back into P2, and he's closing down the gap.
Yeah, you can't count Terry out. He's always going to try and find his way up front. And I think Terry's happy that he's got some pretty good competition to race with. I know he ran a couple of the sports car series races with us towards the end of the season, and he just kind of ran away with the wins. And not gonna lie, man, he was way faster than I thought he was going to be when he first started racing. I mean, I think you told me this guy's fast, and he. Man, these guys are just stepping up and racing with him and making sure he's not getting these wins easily.
Yeah, Terry Crouch kind of came to us, honestly, in the, it was the then Superior Class Auto Racing Radical Series, the road series we had put on there. And Terry came in the last race or two and, well, pulled a Brian McCann and beat Zach Millett at Charlotte Roval on the last lap.
Heck yeah, I love it when Millett gets beat. It's awesome. It's my favorite thing to watch.
Yeah, he came out of nowhere. He went to the end of the field too with a penalty, if I remember right.
Yeah,
and climbed right back through the field. He was fast.
You think he's fast in GT3? He's even faster in a Radical. It's really scary, to be honest.
Yeah, and he's you know, he started running with us in the LSR Cup Series too, and before he got into that, he was telling me, I mean, because he's one of the admins in this league, so we talk a lot. And he was like, I don't know about the oval stuff. I haven't really got a hang of, got a good grasp on it yet. And he was worried about like how to save tires and stay fast and all that stuff. It's just a whole different ball game, and he's showing up, man. I mean, I think he won the last race.
Yeah, he's definitely catching on quick. He's a quick study for most things, that's for certain.
Yeah, he is. He definitely is.
Speaking of road leagues, and I know you and I have talked in the past about kind of teaming up and doing our own thing. I know as far as road league is concerned, you're kind of privy to the road car situation, but I'll tell you, I've been messing around with this new late model stock on the road courses, especially at Sonoma and Lime Rock, and oh my, it is a blast.
Oh yeah, I haven't downloaded it and tried it yet. I hear it's got a lot more grip than the old late model.
Yeah, it's more fun to drive. I mean, it's a new car top to bottom, but go out and give it a shot. I'll send you a setup that we've got worked out for Sonoma. It's actually faster than a truck at Sonoma, even though it lacks the power and the straightaway speed.
I just read what Tristan Sykes said in the chat. Yeah, Tristan, I'm a hell of a dirt driver, buddy.
Terry Crouch just has a moment top of turn 9 as he gets back onto the short course.
Heck of a catch.
With that, though, we are just about halfway. Kevin, we're going to take an HBR TV side-by-side. Stay with us, folks. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Watkins Glen International Lonestar Racing GT3 Series Round 6. Dave Seats in the Mercedes continues to lead. Terry Crouch, James Vance, the balance of the top three. Still got Kevin Blue and Zach Millett in the broadcast booth. I know Zach hasn't said much because Kevin's been chatty.
Vance,
yeah, that's me, buddy.
We do appreciate you being up here, though. Again, feel free to stick around or take off. It's up to you. We enjoy having you up here in the broadcast booth, certainly to promote this great GT3 league that you got going on here.
Yeah, absolutely, man. No, it's all right, man. I'll leave, Zach. It's okay. You can talk. You can talk now. It's all yours, buddy. The floor is yours.
You got to get a little promotion in there for Chris Goins for president.
Yeah, right.
Hey, absolutely.
Well, Kevin, thanks for jumping up here and chatting with us and talking about that first lap incident and, again, promoting your league here. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate it.
So 33 minutes have elapsed of the 60 scheduled. Dave Seats still the race leader. Terry Crouch runs P2. James Vance, Kevin Burrows, Gaston Masroni P5. Keep an eye on that BMW. We haven't talked a whole lot about him tonight as he had to go, well, not had to go. I don't know if he had a win penalty tonight or not, but I think he opted to start near the rear with teammate Nick Caccato. Nick runs about the 8th position. Not a whole lot different paint scheme between the two, just a 2 and a 3. Caccato in the 2, Masroni in the 3. This is the battle here. It looks like he's right on the back bumper of Kevin Burrows.
Yeah, he is there. Gotta wonder if we're gonna see something down into 1.
It's got the inside already. Can outbrake him? Definitely.
Oh yeah.
Goes a little wide though. Not too wide. Kevin might have had a better exit. He's going to get to the inside. No, he's not. So Gaston does clear Kevin Burrows up the hill through the S's. Kevin's not an easy one to pass. He's got pace out here a lot of the time. That was a well-earned position for Gaston Masroni.
Tell you what, Steve, this battle for the lead's going to be happening here pretty quick. Terry is just throwing down some lap times here.
Distance between the top two under 1 second as they get through the toe of the boot. Very challenging corner. If you've ever been to Watkins Glen for a weekend where they're running the long course, you got to walk down there. There's a couple of tunnels that can get you access to the infield portion of the boot. First one is right about here. But it's amazing the elevation change that the drivers have to deal with. I mean, just walking through there, it's incredible. It's a massive uphill portion. Add to the fact that it's a hairpin with heavy braking. It's a very difficult corner to master, but if you can get it figured out, you can really gain a lot of time through there. Continuing to watch this battle, Terry just chipping away at that lead. Riding on board with Dave Seats, and McLaren getting larger and larger in the rearview mirror.
I just can't get over the fact, Steve, how Terry, he can come so close to absolutely wrecking the car and being out of this race, but just getting right back on the horse and setting these lap times again. It's insane.
Well, it's another thing I've noticed about Terry Crouch is a couple of things. We've talked about his ability to come up with strategy. The practice that he puts in is just, no one has been able to match that. I don't know if he's just got the time or just the willingness to dedicate the time to it. He's very good at trying to figure out fuel strategy. That's one thing in itself. But then you factor in his ability. He's got 2 different levels, maybe even 3. One's just be conservative, take care of the car. The other one is, okay, I kind of got to push. And then the other is just insane. And that's pace. And I think that's where he's at now, because he made the mistakes that he's made. He's lost the track position, but here he is. He's 3 car lengths off the back bumper of that Mercedes of Dave Seats with 22.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, it's kind of perfect timing. I mean, he has caught him fair and square, and this is probably going to happen here in the next 2 or 3 laps max.
So keeping that in mind, Terry Crouch's pit stop was at lap 11. We're at lap 21 right now. So when does he pit again? Does he need to push right now? Or is he just waiting for a pit stop to just pass him that way? It's easier to pass him in the pits than it is on the track.
That's true, too, and I think maybe right now he's just seeing what he's got compared to the leader. If he gets up behind the leader and maybe is getting held up, maybe can't get around him, it's going to cost him some time, he might as well come in, pit, come back out, set some lap times, and like you said, recycle back out into the lead.
Ladies and gentlemen, I really wish I could just show you the change in elevation in that bottom section of the toe of the boot. You can see the crest there in the middle of the straightaway. This is how road courses were built back in the 60s and 70s. It's just a beautiful place. Followed the contour of the land, up and down the hills. There's banking, and it's natural banking. It wasn't created. Now you look at a lot of these new FIA-style racetracks that F1 runs. They're all perfectly flat. No elevation change. You've got a little bit of that at, I think, Zandvoort. They got banking added these days, which... it's not natural banking, but at least it's there. Look at racetracks like Spa. That's got a lot of natural elevation change. It followed the land, but again, an older racetrack. So that little hiccup from Terry Crouch puts him back. He was within 8/10. It's now 1.2, maybe 1.3 down the backstretch. Kevin Blue in the stream chat once again mentioning Bathurst. Again, a perfect example. Not necessarily an F1 track, I don't believe. Kevin's a Bathurst expert. He could probably correct me on that if that's the case. But a track that certainly, it goes up and down a mountain. Literally, there is significant elevation change and absolutely no runoff. Can't imagine a Formula One race there. First driver to pit here on the second round of stops. Looks like Nick Battista in the Ferrari. Taking tires. Mike Piazza just in front. Some damage still to be fixed on that machine. He's been in there for just shy of a couple of minutes. Chris Goins down pit lane in the McLaren.
Future President Chris Goins pulling in for some service.
Here comes James Vance. Justin T. Wilkinson.
Trying not to say it.
But to my knowledge, I was thinking Chris Goins and Terry Crouch would have been on very similar pit strategies. Now that may have changed for Terry Crouch. Just given his incidents on track, a couple of mistakes. But he's closed down the gap again. It was 1.3 just a couple of laps ago. It's down under a second again through the laces.
Look at the lap time, Steve, between first place and second place that last time around. Remarkable.
Oh my goodness. I didn't even know Haley was here. Haley in the stream chat out of Sweden. Got to get up extra early, so have a wonderful night and a great race. Haley, thanks for chiming in. One of our very loyal HBR TV watchers. Viewers, I guess you could call it. Appreciate it every time, keeping HBR TV an international broadcast. Pretty cool.
Yeah, Haley, you're awesome.
I think Haley streams herself as well. I got to go back and look. I think it might have been a Call of Duty stream. I got to go back and look. I'm going to give her a shout out the next chance we get here.
Yeah, definitely.
So Terry Crouch. Oh, he's down pit lane here. So is Dave Seats, but man, Terry really closes the gap. And we've talked about this in multiple races, Zach. You're pretty good at this as well, getting all the time you can on pit entry and pit exit. And you see Terry Crouch is right on the back bumper of that Mercedes, gaining a ton of time. This is also the difference between using the pit limiter and not. Terry's about a mile an hour quicker than Dave Seats down pit lane, temporarily takes the top spot. Does he take tires? Stays off of the jacks. And we're 43 minutes in. As soon as these pit stops complete, we're going to jump to our second HBR TV side-by-side. He's down and away, no tires. Keeps those Pirellis nice and hot. Exits the pit lane as the race leader. Beats Dave Seats out. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And really only 0.8 of a second difference in the pit stop. Terry Crouch took over that top spot by gaining that ground on pit entry.
Boy, Steve, it just shows you how important that really is.
Huge. So new leader. Just about shy, 44 minutes in here at Watkins Glen. Terry Crouch takes over the top spot. Dave Seats, Kevin Burrows, Gaston Masseroni, James Vance, the top 5. And we are TV side-by-side break. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Watkins Glen here, 48 minutes down, 12 to go. Terry Crouch still out in front. Dave Seats struggling to keep up. 1.8 seconds in the rearview mirror to Terry Crouch. may have locked up most laps led, but he's got some work to do to catch the 59. That McLaren is on a tear. He's got to cross his fingers here and hope for a mistake. I don't know, Zach. What do you think? I mean, we've seen a couple of oopses out of the 59 of Crouch tonight. Do you think we're going to see another one?
Well, I mean, the possibility is pretty high. You never know. He's driving it really on edge to keep pace, but I mean, he's up there. I think he's, you know, he's over 2 seconds out now. You could probably tone it back a little bit and be a little safer, but I mean, you've seen it in the past. Sometimes when you do that, you actually put yourself at a little more risk.
He's got 2.3 seconds back to Dave's seats here. And we talked about it early on how Terry Crouch seems to have 3 speeds: super conservative, quick but don't hurry, and then just insane. I don't think he's in insane mode anymore. Though his last lap was a minute 43.63.
The conservative mode for Terry.
Interestingly enough, I gotta go back and look. He's run his fastest lap was a 43.48. Let's take a look at qualifying times. I think a 5:10 was where he was. No, yeah, pretty close. 5:20 if you round up. So his race pace, his fastest lap in the race was actually faster than what he had in qualifying. See, Bill Stoker says, so Terry's the road king and Millet is the circle king. Well, kinda.
I will.
Millet's good on ovals, but he is really good on road courses as well. Just once in a while, somebody comes along and beats him. And then we get to break his chops about it. Because he hates it. He absolutely hates it.
I'm going to spend so much time practicing because of Sunday night. It's going to be awful.
Checking on some other battles throughout the race here. James Vance still in the 5th position. Randall White, few car lengths back. Both of these drivers have pit for their final time of the afternoon. Randall took a 15.08 stop. Vance was an 18.47. Zach, I gotta say, watching the BMWs hit that first curb on the entry to the bus stop, they seem to handle it a lot better than any of the other cars out there. Especially if you hit it kind of off center, if you get a little bit too far to the left, they seem to be okay with it comparatively.
You think maybe it's because of the weight distribution, you know, having that front engine? Maybe the weight just comes down on your front tires a little quicker than the mid-engine car?
It could be. I mean, we've kind of seen that with the Mercedes as well, and I only know that just because that's what I would like to drive. And it seemed to handle it a little better than, say, a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or even a McLaren. Justin T. Wilkinson in the 7th spot. So far, one of our bigger movers on the night. He runs P7, started 28th.
Really good day.
However, Gaston Masroni started 19th. He runs 4th. $15 spots gained by the 3. Now with just under 8 minutes remaining, I don't see Gaston being able to make up 14 seconds. And truthfully, he's not running laps all that fast presently. Last lap was a minute 45.96. Just kind of uncharacteristic for Gaston.
I wonder if he has any damage from that early race incident that could be affecting the aero on that car.
Yeah, but I mean, looking at the car, it doesn't seem like he had all that much damage.
Certainly looks decent.
And they also had a fast repair to burn, so whether it was done on that first pit stop or second, it's probably okay.
It does look good. The front lip looks about right.
We got to hand it to the guys that are able to drive the BMW. It does seem to have a lot of pace. Again, our top 10, there's only one Ferrari, one Mercedes, and one McLaren. The other 7 cars, all BMW. But I am slower than molasses in January in upstate New York when I drive a BMW.
Well, you know me, Steve. I was kind of biased towards the Audi until you showed me the Merc.
You know, the reason I like the Merc, and here's why. We've talked about this a couple of times, maybe in different broadcasts, but it's because it really doesn't drive like a sports car. It does, but it doesn't. And maybe it's just because it sounds burly with that V8 underneath the front engine of that machine, but you can kind of drive it with the rear end of the car swung out just a bit in yaw, very similar to how you would drive a NASCAR stock car, which is kind of our bread and butter, where we like to come from. Again, I do love the road courses. That's kind of where I prefer to be, but I prefer to do it in a stock car style vehicle. The Mercedes kind of gives you that feel, gives you that driver input. And that's why I felt fast in it. Even when guys were saying, oh, the BOPs, it's going to be terrible. Don't run it. Don't do this. Don't do that. It's like, well, if you can figure it out, it's still going to be fast. And that's the problem I had with the BMW. I just could not figure it out. Meanwhile, Justin T. Wilkinson in the pit lane here. He's just leaving his final stop of the day here with about 6 minutes remaining.
I know, seeing all these BMWs in this race, I got to probably buy that car as soon as this broadcast is over and we'll give it a try.
Kevin Blue says, Nick Ciccato, Justin Wilkinson get into each other in the S's. Again, unfortunately, I can't go back and watch it. It's the same curse we had when we were trying to do a replay, but this one is live and it's still giving us headaches. Got William Stoker in the stream chat asking if I race. I, as in Steve. Yes, I do. It's not very often because I'm trying to broadcast 5 nights a week here at HBR TV, Sunday through Thursdays. But when I get the opportunity to get behind the wheel, I certainly do try. Andrew Locke blaming me for not giving the BMW a real chance. No, I didn't have time for that. I knew what I liked and I knew what I went with, and we still got a podium out of our Daytona 24, so I won't complain.
And Andrew, I do feel like a jerk, but mostly because I picked you for this race and just instantly cursed you right from the start. So my bad, man.
Kevin Blue says I'm faster than Millet.
Agreed.
Okay, maybe in a GT3 car, but not in a truck.
You were faster than me in the Radical here too.
Yeah, but you were just getting adjusted. Let's stop talking about us. We've got 4 minutes to go here from Watkins Glen, the Lonestar Racing GT3 Series, round 6. And Nick Batista has crashed. He is already into pit lane. Whatever his issue was, it was significant. Let's try it, see what we can come up with. Does it go to the toe of the boot? Yes, it does. I don't know why it's doing that. So, no replay. Sorry, folks.
Big time rear end damage on that car, though.
3.5 minutes remain here from Watkins Glen. Terry Crouch still in command. Dave Seats in the second spot. But, man, that gap is just widening every lap. 5.2 seconds back to Dave Seats in the Mercedes. A valiant? I don't know if I'm using the right words anymore. Valiant run for Dave Seats in the Mercedes. Kevin Burrows looking at another podium here. He's 14 seconds back. Another TLDR SimSport entry. Gaston up in the 4th position. Randall White 5th. James Vance in the 6th position. James having some troubles early on trying to get through some slower traffic. Certainly not helping the cause. And actually, Zach, if you really look at the timing tower here, only our top 7 remain on the lead lap. But interestingly enough, it's the 2 Coanda Racing machines out of Argentina, Gaston Masroni, and, well, just now, Nick Ciccato, not on the lead lap anymore. But again, these guys started at the tail of the field. Ciccato qualified in the 20th position, still had to go to the rear for his win penalty. Masroni was 19th in qualifying, but again, I think that just might have translated to him trying to be near a teammate. Which, with 2 minutes to go here, Zach, I mean, how beneficial really is that? You know, do you opt to try and work your way through the field with someone that you know that well, how they race, how they drive, kind of use one of them as a lead blocker to work your way through the field? Is that really the best way to go? I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think so. I think it'd be like kind of a comfort factor too, you know, someone you can trust, someone that you practice all the time with. It's gotta help.
Bounce different ideas off the guy. Be careful of this next guy we're going to pass. He's a little erratic. Line inconsistencies, whatever the case may be. And there it is. Barney's waving the white flag here. Terry Crouch takes it one more time around the long course here at Watkins Glen. Terry Crouch enjoying a 5-second advantage. He has slowed his pace slightly, but he's got the ability to do that here. A 44.61 for Crouch. Dave Seats was a little bit faster, 44.26. But with one lap remaining, certainly not going to be enough to make up that deficit. He really needs a mistake out of the 59 of Terry Crouch. Clearing off turn number 4 down the back straightaway. Watch him into the bus stop. Nice and clean. Yeah, Terry not pushing that McLaren at all at this point in the go. Left side's right on that inside curve. Nice job. Just need to record this lap for Terry Crouch and use it as a tutorial on how to get around Watkins Glen.
It is perfect, isn't it?
Except for that exit out of the toe. It could have gone a little wider. Getting the left sides right to the grass on entry into the heel. A little wide off the curb. Up the hill into my favorite corner, turn number 9. Not.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's your spot.
God. Terry Crouch with no pressure out the back. One more corner. Cleanly off turn 11. Checkered flag waves. Terry Crouch, your race winner here at Watkins Glen International. Dave Seats in the Mercedes. A great run here this afternoon. Unfortunately, has to settle for the second spot. Terry Crouch on the cool down. Still scrubbing tires. Does this guy ever quit?
No. This lap still might be a 43.
He's taking his time through the old chicane. It's no longer there. It's one thing I wish iRacing was able to duplicate is there's still some pieces of that Formula One chicane there in the S's. I wish that at least it was an option to be used. It is not. Is he out of gas? I think he is. I think he ran out of gas. Dave Seats continues on, so that might have been why he was able to beat the Mercedes out of pit lane so easily.
And Terry was adjusting that thing as he was coming down pit lane right behind Dave.
Well, maybe not. Again, we talked about how Terry Crouch is so adamant about practice throughout the course of the week between events, trying to figure out fuel strategy and this, that, and the other. He may have just had this thing factored as this is when I have to pit, this is when my second stop is, and this is how many laps I can go after that. And it looks like it might have been about 3/10 of a lap after the checkered flag that he had planned on.
Pretty much perfect.
Well, let's jump out here. We're going to get our final break out of the way. We'll come back with our top 3 finishers after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Watkins Glen International, the 60 minutes here at Lonestar Racing GT3 Series event. Round number 6 is in the books. Terry Crouch, your race winner, and we're going to try and get a word with Terry here. It looks like we've got all 3 of our drivers available for interview. We'll Terry up into the booth. Terry, it's Stephen Zach Millett in the HBR TV booth. You got us?
Whew, yeah, I got you guys. How you doing?
You got a breath? What's going on?
Well, I just decided to forget how to drive the bus stop for the first 5 or 8 laps, and once I sorted that out, I tried to get it forward, but man, what a race from Dave Seats and everybody, really.
Terry, me and Zach were actually talking about that first turn in to the bus stop, not just with you, but multiple drivers, us included. We didn't run here tonight, clearly. We're here in the broadcast booth, but we've experienced the same issues. If you're just a little bit too far to the left on entry, it is a nightmare. We saw it with Kevin Blue. He wrecked the car there. But walk us through what happened with you on that turn into the bus stop, almost throwing the race away.
Well, like you said, it's about a 6-inch lane there, and if you hit it right, it's fast and it's perfect, and if you hit it wrong, the car's bouncing, and as soon as you do it, and so I was too busy. I forget who it was. I was passing a lap car, and he was really close to me, and so I was looking in my mirror when I went for the turn in, and that was that. Was too late, bounced the car all over. And then after that, I was scared. So then I was changing what I was doing, trying to go easier into it. And after a while, when I kept going backwards, I was like, forget it. I'm just going to, if I crash it, I crash it. I just need to get going forward again.
Well, Zach kind of made the same comment, and it was the opposite of what I was thinking, is this guys like Terry Crouch, at least as far as what I had seen, is you had a mistake, and then all of a sudden you were right back to the pace that you needed to be at, and it was like, no problem, forgot all about it. But I guess you're telling us different. Zach kind of thought the same thing. He had said the same thing happens to him. If he makes a big mistake like that, it always gets in his own head, trying not to do the same thing the next lap, the lap after that, and the lap after that. So good job on you for not duplicating the mistake. Talk about pit strategy. We know you were talking with Chris Goins pre-race about what the plan was as far as when you were going to come down and what the plan was to get through there. It seemed like you might have run out of fuel late in this race as far as after the checkered flag. Did you really cut it that close?
Oh, he told you I talked to him, huh? No more info for him. No. Yeah.
Just broadcast research, okay, Terry?
Right. Well, I'll spill my secrets to anybody. I was thinking the way that we change these things. No, I won't. I won't spill it all. But my strategy worked out exactly as it did. I know that I'm not really going to change tires because in the McLaren, you don't want to upset the balance with fronts or rears, or unless it's a really easy track, which I don't see happening. So I'm just not. I don't know if I'm changing another tire all race. So after that, it's figuring out fuel. How do I want to split it? Because I figured if I underfill it a little bit on the first pit stop, that means I got less fuel for that whole middle stint to make up ground. And then, make it up in the last part. And as long as I save my tires in the beginning, and then without sliding across the track, it works out pretty well.
Well, it was certainly a great race to watch across the board. It was fun to see you trying to have to fight your way back through the field. Again, it was strategy one way or the other. Again, coming down to fuel, it seems like it was awfully close, and it might have been the difference maker. Not just that, but maybe even your entry into pit lane. You had about a second gap between yourself and Dave Seats coming to pit lane that final time, and then all of a sudden, you're right on his back bumper. So a great job, probably really late on the brakes, getting that thing woed down to pit speed. Nicely done.
Thank you. Yeah, it was close. It was real close to a penalty, but I had enough fuel. I probably could have made it another 2/3 of a lap, but I just kind of parked with my buddy, my teammate Kevin in there, and at Dave Seats, I just wanted to show him some wiggle flashy lights. Good job.
Wiggle flashy lights. Well, this is Watkins Glen. Next week, it's going to be Road Atlanta for, well, I guess we'll call it the spring race. It's only a day or two shy. How do you feel about rolling into Road Atlanta? Is that a place you get around pretty good?
Yeah, I'm usually really good at Road Atlanta in something that eats curbs. I think the BMWs are going to be tough to beat there next week. The McLaren, not a curb-happy car, so I think next week's, trying to manage it and not, eat too many point deficits.
All right, Terry, we're certainly good luck next week. You're going to have to start with that win penalty, so that's going to factor into the equation, but maybe pit strategy will get you back towards the front before it's all said and done.
That's the hope. That's about all I got.
Last but not least, who do you want to thank before we let you go?
Tonight, I'm going to lead off with Kevin and Randall, my team. I think we were 1-3-4 in that race as a team, which is pretty impressive. and Dave Seats for a great race, and of course sponsors GSI, TLDR Sim Sport, my team, the Sim Pit, and you guys, of course LSR. I mean, this league is becoming more and more fun every week, so it's my favorite place to run.
Becoming a competitive road series to watch here at HBR TV. Certainly enjoying it. Again, Terry, thanks for talking to us. Good luck next week.
Heck yeah. Oh yeah, if I don't shout out my wife, I'm going to get in trouble. Whoops.
Mrs.
man.
Crouch, thanks for watching.
Yeah, well, almost got in real trouble.
All right, Terry, we'll see you.
See you, boys.
Terry Crouch, your race winner. Next, we're going to go to Dave Seats, my pick, who beat Zach's pick.
Yeah, let's not talk about it. Curse lives on.
Yep, Dave Seats, it's Steve and Zach in the HBR TV booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Dave, congratulations, man. I know it's not the result that you wanted. Led a lot of this race, got out front early and led a ton of laps, man. Walk us through your race, any strategy changes that you maybe could have made to stay out in front of Terry Crouch. It seemed he did gain a ton of ground on that last stop on pit entry.
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping to get out in front of him in the pit stop, then we could fight it out on track. I knew he was just pace-wise, he was going to outpace me, but getting on the pit lane, car slid a little bit. I'm still coming to grips with the setup change and the lower fuel loads in the car. Just it overheats the tires really easy. But first would have been great, but I mean, Terry was the man today. That pace was just, it was going to be hard to fight. So, I mean, I'm pretty happy with the second place, to be fair.
Well, definitely an impressive run across the board. I know you would have loved to have that win. I did notice a Pennsylvania license plate on the back of that Mercedes. Is this kind of a home race for you?
Yeah, I mean, this is as close to a home track on the server as we can get. I mean, I go up to the 6 Hours of the Glen every year, and like this is one of my favorite tracks in the U.S. I mean, Spa is my all-time favorite, but U.S. wise, this is the one. So, but I knew it was going to be a challenge coming here because Spa and the Glen on iRacing, for some reason, everybody's fast. Like everybody's fast. So I was happy with the pace we had in this big Mercedes tonight.
Well, if you end up going to the Glen for the 6 hour this June, please let us know. Myself and Zach Millett will also be there. We always are. Hit us up. First beer's on me.
Nice. Oh, we're definitely going. My buddy and I got our campsite off track, but I got campsite ready to go. So we'll be there this year.
Either way, we're sitting inside turn number 10, right at the spigot, just off track side. So again, touch base with us. First beer's on us. Again, Dave, thanks for talking to us, man. A great run here, second place finish. Is anyone you want to shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, I want to thank my sponsor, Mishmash Gaming. Also, Full Send Graphics for the awesome paints that he does for our cars. And then my team, Limitless Motorsports.
All right, Dave. Well, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Dave Seats, your second place finisher here at the Glen. Last but not least, we're going to pull Kevin Burrows up into the broadcast booth. And I'm just realizing we've got all but one driver out of our Daytona 24 driver set list here. But we've got Kevin Burrows, your third place finisher here at the Glen. Kevin, you got us?
Yep, got a copy.
Kevin, congratulations on a podium here at the Glen. Only a 60-minute sprint, but man, you've been looking good here the last couple of weeks. Walk us through your race, any strategy changes that you may have made. I know you're a TLDR Sim Sport driver here, but you're running a different car than Terry Crouch. What were the differences really that came down to you finishing P3 versus P2 or even a win?
Of course, I didn't have the speed for a win. Dave and Terry was super fast tonight, but Gaston was running up on me there pretty good. I'm not sure if he was running out of gas, if he overdid his tires or what, but he was coming up pretty good on me, and then I was able to pull away from him. But I don't know, boy, it's all these guys, they're all tough. It's a race every week for sure.
Well, that's 100% the case here. Again, I've mentioned it many times here tonight in the broadcast. This particular league, it kind of had maybe a slow start, still a great field to start things off, but the competitive level of this series has gotten better and better, gets greater and greater every single week, and yourself included. We've seen a pretty big improvement out of you in the last couple of races. What's the secret?
I just gotta wind it up, start slow, and try to work my way up.
Well, whatever works. It seems to be working at this point. What are your thoughts rolling into next week out at Road Atlanta?
Road Atlanta, yeah. Me and Dave, always in the waiting room, was talking about it. Road Atlanta's it can be a disaster, but it sure is a fun track. I absolutely love it.
Well, Kevin, thanks for talking to us, man. We're going to let you go. Is there anyone you want to shout out to before we do?
Yep, wife and my daughter, as always, and the guys over at TLDR, Terry and Randall in here, and shout out to my buddy Corey out there in YouTube land.
All right, Kevin. Well, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week.
Yep, thank you all.
It's Kevin Burrows, your third place finisher here at the Glen. It's going to wrap up our interview portion of the event. We didn't get Zach to take any interviews, but maybe we'll work on that for next week at Road Atlanta.
Yeah, we're gonna play that one by ear, Steve. I can't even get the thank yous and sponsors down for getting podiums yet. So a little slow at it, but we'll get there.
Well, nobody's perfect by any stretch of the imagination. We figure it out, just like I did. I'm kind of even still figuring it out. Just gonna do it as I go. What are your thoughts on tonight's race? I know we had some strategy come into the play, some action with Terry Crouch, our race winner, actually having some issues getting off track, spinning the car. Gaston Masroni starting near the back, finishing in the top 5. James Vance not cracking the top 5. Tough break for the 87. What are your thoughts, Zach?
Man, I feel like we had a little bit of everything tonight. We had that big wreck right off the bat. I think that shook up a lot of people. I think that pretty much showed how on edge everybody is coming around this place. And yeah, seeing our leader, the guy who won, have some issues. I mean, that just shows you how on edge these guys really are, and it's fun to watch, man. I love it.
Yeah, it's a blast. And again, Watkins Glen, of course, always holds a special place in my heart. It's an hour and a half from where I live. It's, 3 hours from you, Zach?
Just about 3, yep.
So we're here, I'm here at least 2 to 3 times a year. Zach comes down for IMSA and for NASCAR, so we certainly look forward to races here at the Glen. But next week at Road Atlanta, that's going to be a fun one as well. Make sure you tune in for it. It will also be live here at HBR TV next Monday night. About 8:45, we'll go live. Tune in for it, and if you haven't already done so, please like, follow, share, subscribe. YouTube.com/@HBR TV and the number 1. All of our live race broadcasts, at least for the time being, occur on YouTube. There are some other posts that you may see on the Facebook side. That's facebook.com/HBRTV1. Check it out. We won't blow your phone up with constant posts. There might be 2 or 3 throughout the course of the week. Nothing crazy. Maybe a little more if I remember to put all the stream links in there as well. But it does help both channels if you like, follow, share, subscribe. Again, I've been noticing here on these streams, we get 25, 30, 40 people sometimes at one time watching these races, sometimes upwards of 100 plus over the course of 24 hours, and I've get like 3 or 4 likes. Gotta get on that, guys. Come on. Anyway, Zach, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you guys all in the stream chat. Of course, we had a pretty busy stream chat tonight. Thank you all for chiming in, giving us your opinion. Tristan trying to boot Kevin Blue out of the booth. We got him out of here. It's all right.
Bandstick engage.
If he doesn't wreck next week, we'll keep him out of the booth too. All right. That's all I got, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.